So we did our intro. We were like, okay, I'm psyching myself up. I'm going to watch Mannequin. I don't want to, but I'm going to do it. So I say, hey, okay, let's go watch Mannequin. And my lovely and beautiful wife says,
well, I don't have it.
Oh my gosh. This is what I live with. I love her to death. But I was just like, what? How?
I'm so sorry that I didn't know where my grandfather's VHS recorded HBO copy was.
The whole point of this is like our favorite movies.
Well, I didn't know we were going to do it right then.
Our favorite movies. My favorite movies? Yeah. Okay, let's watch it. Oh, I don't have it. It's okay. It's okay.
It's not because I don't love it. It's not one of my... It's like one of those things like, oh, I need to get Mannequin. It's like one of my favorites. And then you just never do it.
But if we do that, we would have 500 movies each.
Exactly. So. Like we've had to buy furniture for our movies. So I had to buy the DVD, the hard copy.
And
it arrived yesterday.
It arrived and it was, I got serenaded to Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now. How did it go again?
Oh, God, how did it go? Nothing's gonna stop me now from making you watch this movie. You're gonna love it. Nothing's gonna stop me.
It helps to see the ballerina move she added to it as well. So it was... But yeah, so we did watch it. I did watch Mannequin, and
I was so excited I didn't even finish cleaning the kitchen, and I quickly put our child to bed because
yes, thank goodness we didn't have her watch it with us because I was like, should we have her watch it? And I was like, okay.
Well, do you want to hear how I felt about it?
Oh yeah, that's a great point. So how did you feel?
Because the other part of this is we have to see if it held up.
If it held up,
yes.
I think they know by the
198%.
Wow.
And it was great.
Math is not her strong suit. There's no such thing as 198%, but that's okay.
There is to me. It's fine. No, it was everything that I remembered. The Belinda Carlisle song, I totally forgot. And I was like, oh my God, yes. But it just shot me back to when I was 10 years old. And I totally forgot that James Spader was in it. I was so excited.
He's in a very un-James Spader-ish role.
I would
we'll get to
argue that his best role ever.
Oh, you're crazy.
Okay. I am not.
Wow.
But yes, it held up and it was so funny. Just I don't know about you guys, but movies where I have seen them 4,000 times, I remember lines and I'll say them in public and nobody else will get it until the one day someone gets it, right? And answers you back and then it's oh, these are my people. But even just something stupid like the way James Spader ran down the stairs and he's putting spit in his hair and trying to fix his hair because his hair is messed up as he's running down the stairs. I remember that. It's burned in my memory and it means nothing to any of you, I realize. But absolutely held up. So excited. I'm going to watch it again, probably tomorrow.
Oh, dear God.
When you're I want to watch a movie and then you spend an hour trying to figure out which movie you're going to watch, it's not going to happen because I'm just going to watch that again.
Okay.
Because I love this movie.
So... For those who haven't seen it, it is exactly what it looks like on the poster. It's about this kind of dreamer.
He's an artist.
A wistful artist who he
lives in a loft.
Keeps explaining. Yeah, a horrible loft.
Which I don't know how he affords.
With big holes everywhere. But anyway, so it's this dreamer. So Andrew McCarthy's the star. He's this kind of wistful, quirky artist who can't keep a job. Who falls in love with the mannequin.
He's always trying to create.
Who falls in love with the mannequin who magically comes to life. It's that's what's going on.
Yes.
So the movie is really just the plot is very simple. Basically, it's
like a Pygmalion.
Andrew McCarthy can't keep a job. One of his jobs is to make mannequins, and so he makes this mannequin, gets fired
because he takes. 3 days to make the mannequin?
Yeah, it's I can make 3 or 4 of these. I can make 3 or 4 of these a month. And he's like, you need to make 3 or 4 of these a week. And so...
You're fired.
So he's just not made... I mean, for those who had jobs in their early 20s, late teens, and you didn't understand how jobs really work, he's still very much in that mode.
You know what? I feel for him, though, because he's just trying to be creative. And so every job he gets, he's just really, I get it. It's I don't want to sit at a desk and not be creative.
It's why a lot of people hate being someone's first boss. In some of my first jobs, I didn't get it either. So he makes a mannequin, loses his job, loses a bunch of other jobs, and then by a twist of fate, saves Estelle Getty,
Who is lovely.
he saves her life, and so she gives him a job, and lo and behold, the Mannequin is there.
She gives him a job at her department store.
At her department store where the Mannequin happens to be, and then we have chicanery, and then we have an end credit. So, that's basically the whole...
Wow, you just blew by the whole thing.
It is that deep of a plot. So, so there were things I liked about this movie. So I know you think this is James Spader's best role.
It is.
And granted, I have not seen any Andrew McCarthy movie in literally decades, but I thought this was his best role. Like, I thought he had a lot of... it was very much a Fred Astaire, Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin type interpretation.
Well, there was a lot of hat work.
It was kind of like Sam Rockwell is in all of his movies.
Oh, that's
he's very Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
Can't dance like Sam because no one can dance like Sam. But it's the same type of quirky charisma, which usually he would just lean in. His other roles, I remember him just leaning in on his looks, kind of. It's like, well, of course you love me because I'm Andrew McCarthy. And this one, it was like, oh, he has a personality. And McCarthy, I thought was great. I thought he was very charismatic, and I think there was a definite tone to this movie, a very farcical, over the top, heightened tone to it. And I had real problems with Kim Cattrall's character, but she
was trying really hard to be just like, oh, I'm just interesting and I want to do everything and I just want to have fun.
Yeah, she was the total like,
I'm so carefree, look at me.
I mean, it's the 80s.
Even my hair is carefree.
So she's the hot, I'll do anything girl that just happens to fall in love with the main character. But she does a good job with it. James Spader, again, not my favorite role he's ever done. But I thought he totally nailed the tone. And I think, he nails the tone. And then who else? Hollywood. And G.W. Is it G.W. Gary? G.W. Barry?
Not Bailey.
He's the guy from Police Academy. The main police guy in Police Academy. Not the commissioner, but the main bad guy. And he plays like an incompetent version of that character. It's kind of like if Roscoe P. Coltrane and his character from Police Academy merged, that would be what he was.
G.W. Bailey.
G.W. Bailey.
I was right.
You're so smart. So
Thanks. Beauty and
doing that type of role, like it's like I am way too much of a thinker, but when you do roles like that, at least in my very limited experience, it's tough because you need to be funny. It's completely ridiculous, yet you've got to seem human. There has to be something grounded in your performance. Or it just looks like you're just...
Because, the character has to be doing it for a purpose, and it matters, and it's important to them.
Yeah, and so James Spader, nails it. And, so... so it's like, is he a comical character? Obviously, clearly.
But he's also very serious.
But I saw nothing of his other characters in that. He was 100% portraying that character. No veil, no mask.
Yeah.
It was very well done. So there were things I didn't that I didn't like about the movie, though. Just to be full disclosure, I'm
shocked.
It is not like. There was no real... I'm used to, mythology movies where, you give me the rules to this universe, and as long as I clearly see those rules, I'm totally with it. And, no, this is just... And
because the mannequin can only come to life for him, nobody else.
Yeah,
so there are a bunch of scenes where...
Except when she kicks people, or when she decides to flip them off, or when... it's like one of those things, the rules of the universe don't stick. But... Yeah. But they, in fairness, they let you know from the beginning. And my historian mind, heart, and soul was just crushed in the opening scene. But they let you know. They're like, hey, if you're expecting us to be in any way accurate, you're high. Because this is Mannequin. So it's this year, sometime past lunch or something like that. It's got that early joke. And, and Kim Cattrall, very charismatic as just this...
But she's wearing
ideal
coral
girl.
Lipstick, and she's supposed to be an Egyptian.
Yeah,
princess.
And oh man, I was just morally offended at her trying to be Egyptian with her mom character is just total, obviously not in any way Egyptian mother with clothing which clearly does not make sense, and she's wearing a money wrap.
A show musical, on-stage musical version.
It's very
of that.
It is we're just having fun. We're just doing them. We're just watching a
Just
show.
go with it.
Look at how cute Kim
Just
is.
enjoy it.
Look at how cute
Belinda Carlisle
look at how
is
cute
playing.
Andrew is. Like some of the actors just didn't hit the bar. They were very
Are you talking about Roxy?
there. She really reminded me of a young Maya Rudolph. Like I could totally see that.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
But Maya Rudolph can pull off lines and stuff.
I think Maya Rudolph, if she had a time machine, would have been perfect. And the thing was, is I don't.
And I think I knew when I was younger that the lines were like a little off and funny.
Yeah, and like as an actor, again with super limited experience, it's like you rely on the director to tell you, let's take that again.
Well, maybe that was the best take.
Yeah, well, but I mean,
I just felt like I was in acting 101.
Again, I've never done anything huge, but like I've had times with directors who have been like, I wish they would have stopped me with the line reading.
Yeah.
I wish they would have said something, and because I had other options and I didn't go with it, and I really wish I could take them back. But she, and then like the rival department store, like Estelle Getty nails it. Like
yes. Prince and Company is her store.
Prince and Company is the
and
good guy store.
Illustra.
You can tell because it's named Prince. Like so, that's the good one.
And it's old fashioned.
And then Illustra is kind of like the '80s new one.
LeMay.
And kind of everybody who works there is like they get there in a comedy, and they're trying, but it's just almost like they're kind of winking too much at the camera, like and. Whereas the other characters, like many of them at Prince and Company, it's like they're playing it like, this is just who I am.
Genuine.
This is genuine.
Yeah. But everybody else at Illustra is kind of like, hey, this is funny, right? I'm over the top.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like, yeah, I'm funny, right? And it's like, no. So Roxy, who is Andrew's girlfriend at the beginning, she is constantly being hit on very aggressively and sometimes like touched and stuff
harassed.
like that. And the
Straight
thing
up harassed.
Which doesn't make it completely cringeworthy is that I never got the sense she was in danger.
No, and she just like hauls off and slaps him
and just nails these guys. But it's like it was like one of those things where I can understand that. I mean, that doesn't age well. You're not allowed to do that anymore. And like so, I felt
another reason I'm glad we didn't let the 6-year-old watch it.
Yeah. So it's kind of and I know some people are like, oh, it's just boys being boys or whatever. It's like no, it's not. They're being creeps. And the thing that's
I'm glad she threw him down the stairs.
Yeah, that was problematic. One of the other things that that I think, again, depending on who you are, I could totally see getting offended by this. There's a really strong character who fits in this farcical universe is this guy named Hollywood, who's just an over-the-top, effeminate gay guy who's a friend of Andrew at the department store. And he is completely over top. It's very like Nathan Lane in Birdcage, like just very, and it's one of those things where it's like,
I love him, and I loved him when I was little too. Like I loved him.
Yeah,
I loved his sunglasses. I loved his car cover that he takes 20 minutes to cover up the car in an emergency.
Yeah, I think you could watch it today in that and like everyone knows now that hey, not all gay people are like that.
Right.
And like,
this was the stereotypical 80s.
And I think one of the issues again is that like one of the things that balances out Birdcage is number one, Nathan Lane is always a bit of a drama queen, but he's not there's different levels to it.
Right.
And you have other representation. You have Robin Williams, his husband, who's like, gay, but is different. And so like if that's your only representation of what gay people are like, I can understand being offended by it. And so
I do like, and we were talking about this, and I didn't catch this when I was younger, but they did have like where Felix, the security guard, is being
C.W. Bailey and
he's saying terrible things, and Andrew McCarthy's character, Jonathan Switcher is his name, like sticks up for
him.
Yeah, basically. And I thought that was
he's
cool.
Definitely an ally, and like and throughout, like there's no. Andrew's just there's a lot of acceptance in this movie. Maybe too much for what would be in a workplace.
What do you mean when he takes the mannequin into a closet?
Yeah, where everybody's like, "Oh, hey, he's banging the mannequin again," in the bathroom.
Or when he like wakes up and he's naked and he's in a pile of furs.
And he gets applause. So I think so if you would be offended by it, I would understand your point.
But I loved him.
But I thought he was a great character.
And he was, he was like living in the world.
Like Spader and like Andrew McCarthy.
Yeah, I think you're right. I didn't realize that until you just said that. But yeah, everybody at Prince and Company was very authentic and like living in that world. And everybody at Alestra was kind of like,
hey, I'm a comedian. You should laugh. That's kind of what's going on.
Can I just real quick, the part of the movie that also I didn't catch when I was 10, maybe, I don't know, but I laughed really hard, was when he goes to Chez Jacques, the restaurant that he had accidentally burned down. He almost burned down when he worked there. And he runs into the guy that made her D, and he's like, oh man, your eyebrows are growing back really nice.
I know.
And then he's like, oh wow, they really rebuilt that balcony.
Oh yeah, I love that scene. Like the whole thing with you got the night hair on. Like it was just like
the night hair during
like
the daytime.
That was like I've never seen Andrew McCarthy be that witty before.
So funny.
Which he probably
and then
is in real life.
surprise, he sets the restaurant on fire again on accident.
So there was a lot more slapstick, like farcical, like a lot more slapstick than I was expecting. It's not like, it's kind of like Dumb and Dumber adjacent. Like it's not so. Like if you're a guy,
really that much.
Not quite. That's why it's adjacent.
It's like a caper kind of like. Yeah. Because you got like the security guard like.
It's this type
always following him around.
Caper is a good word for it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, just kind of farcical that you would see more like Vacation would be like kind of that type of vein of movie where it's just ridiculous.
I don't know if you know this about me. I'm going to tell you something about myself.
Oh, okay.
I love movies that are set in a closed store after hours.
I did not know that.
Yeah, like Where the Heart Is, how she lives at Walmart, at nighttime.
I have no idea what that is.
Oh, well, maybe you'll have to watch it.
Oh, no.
And then Career Opportunities.
I totally have seen that movie. Oh, Career Opportunities. I never saw that movie. I'm guessing
they're trapped inside of a Target at night. I just like the whole thing of like having the store all to yourself and like getting to like, get out the camping gear and set up like, I don't know, like it's cool. Like you can open the stuff and use it, and like no one's around.
And
like,
just so you know, having
it's really appealing to me.
Having worked in retail, they totally love it when you do that. They totally love you when you open up and wear clothing.
Or when you like unfold something and then you just put it back in another section.
Yeah, so that was, and that was one of the other, I mean, so you just got to understand it's a farce. Like from again, not a super businessman, but again, like when someone's shares drop in 2 days by 89%, the head slap was just real. And and the idea of like, oh, hey, this one person, and again, time is very loose in this movie. You can never quite tell how, because there's like montages and you're like, is this one night?
There's so many montages of like dressing up and
I only remember
dancing.
I only remember one big montage song. But yeah,
I feel like they're always playing. They were always playing.
So the concept of a department store doesn't have any customers and one window display within like 2 days like has totally turned around, has let this department store make more money.
He becomes like the wonderkin because he and his mannequin are creating cool window displays, and that's starting to bring the customers to Prince and Company, and Alestra does not like that.
It would make more sense to me if he and the mannequin were doing the entire store every night. Like if you have like that elf,
like Elf?
Like Elf moment where like that would make more sense to me. It's like, oh, look at this Windows display, and you walk in and you're like, oh, wow, it's so cool.
I felt like, you don't have to do a window every night. Like, can't you leave it up for a couple days?
That was the thing, too. It was like, I've only helped with window display a couple times. There's no way in Hades you're doing that every night. Like, the amount of timing.
It just seemed like a lot.
And,
and then, like, the one night where they're like, oh, my God, we're running out of time. What are we going to do? And then he has an idea, and then he comes up like,
and they're like, oh, we don't have time.
We don't have time. And there's, like, this, like, city bus that they somehow got a hold of.
Created.
It's like, I'm like, oh, okay. You didn't have time, so you macrame paper mache city bus.
But and again, it was like it's a movie that you just you just go with it. You just don't think hard because there's several things about it where it's just like historically or business wise or where it's just like okay.
When James Spader asks Felix if he'd ever jumped out of a plane and landed on his face, that was hilarious.
And he says yes.
And he says, well, yeah, like
without realizing, like, well, yeah, of course, that's just part of basic training. So,
so many good lines.
Yeah, so I thought, so I mean, like, Do you feel like there's anything else we need to cover that? I mean, there's other. I mean, both of us can talk.
Well, at the very end, I think you were really shocked and worried about my reaction at the very end.
Oh, yes. So I don't know. I mean, only people who know us would be listening to this, but you may or may not know that Corey has a tender heart, and she just tends to cry. Happy cry, sad cry,
Excited cry.
So our
6-year-old is so sick of it. Like when I'm reading Babysitter's Club to her, she can tell because I do this. She goes, "Are you crying again?"
So I still don't quite understand why you were crying at the end of Mannequin.
Because I just felt just so many.
I mean, nothing's going to stop us now.
And like, I don't know, like my childhood. I'm crying right now thinking about
it.
it.
If there's no lovers, we'll still have each other.
Okay.
It's like.
Okay.
But yeah, it was it was a sweet movie.
Yeah.
I think that like if I had one of the things for this is like, okay, one of us has to be double thumbs up, the other one has to be double thumbs down.
Yeah.
So I would say that I'm probably one thumb up, one thumb in the middle. Like,
okay.
I kind of want to give it 2 thumbs up.
Wow.
But it's not quite.
It's high praise.
Well, but there's definite reasons for me not to. So it's like, so it's not, so it's like, am I, I know I'm going to be watching this movie at least twice over the next couple of days because Corey's going to want to put it on. And like, I'll sit down and watch parts of it.
I'm not going to make you watch it if you don't want to.
Yes, famous last words. But yeah, so there's like, so I'll probably stop by and because she loves it when I just stand and watch a couple of scenes and don't sit down next to her. But I'll probably like
and
watch a few
ask a bunch
scenes.
of questions.
Except I'll know all the answers. So
yeah, and they don't have to ask questions.
So yeah, so it's so if somebody wants you to watch this movie, I'm like yeah, just know going in it's a farce and like
just
sure.
Get some wine and some cheese.
Yeah, or hit your head, fall out of a plane and hit your face a few times, so you're a little daisy, a little concussed, and you'll love it.
Do you have any like questions about what you saw, like that maybe I could help you with, or do you feel like we've covered?
I feel like nothing really was outside of not understanding the laws of business and
the laws of
like, and the other thing
coming to life.
Again, the other thing is just I realize they have to fall in love because it's in the script, just kind of like Romeo and Juliet. Why are they falling?
She's lived a bunch of lifetimes to find him. Yeah,
and again through very bad histrionics, like the people she's been with. It's like Andrew McCarthy was it, huh? Really, out of all the different people, okay. I mean, they're very cute together.
Well, Keith, but the gods guided him in making her.
Yeah, that was.
And then he brought her to life, and so it was destiny.
You see, that's why you shouldn't think too hard because with everything I know about mythologies and different religions, it's just said. Like
she explained it.
Again, it's one of those things. If you don't think too hard, you're like, okay, yeah, sure, I can totally see that. Andrew McCarthy, Kim Cattrall, what that McCattrall? What would that be? What would be their
McCattrall? Their celebrity date.
Their stating
name.
Yeah, what would their celebrity?
Well, it wouldn't be
name?
their last names.
Andrew and what's her first name again? Kim.
Cam Drew.
Kim Drew. Yeah.
Actually, it would be Emmy and Jonathan Switcher, so it would be Jemmy.
Jemmy.
Yeah.
I think you, as always, are right. So there we go. And that's Mannequin.